Hi Gemini, it's Jenny here with your September Tarot Horoscope. So as always, we're just pulling a single card for the month of September to see what's coming up for you. So the first 2/3 of September is Virgo season, and then we're going to have the September equinox, and that's going to take us into Libra season. So I have a card for you for September. Okay, so your card is the Three of Swords. So the way he looks this way, so there's lots of reds and blacks here. Inside this big heart, we have this scene, we have this naked woman, she's kind of tied up here. There's this big serpent and it's being slain by this knight. So it's lots of that kind of imagery, and then we've got these swords kind of stabbing in from above at all of it. Okay, so we've got, let's see what the Three of Swords has for us this month. Okay, Three of Swords, conscious love. This is a very powerful card, an homage to love and to the liberating power of the mind. The card depicts a scene from the painting Roger Rescuing Angelica, framed by a big red heart. As ever, the message is ambiguous. Perhaps a great abyss is opening up at the center of your heart, or maybe swords are about to free you from affliction and distress. The picture is based on the classical motif of a battle with a dragon, a black serpent-like monster visible at the bottom of the big heart. The image warns against hurt feelings, old wounds reopened by the sword. The positive message is that whatever problems we may encounter, the weapons of the mind and the eyes of love will enable us to find a solution in a happy alliance of heart and sword. Most problems arise out of a separation of abstract thoughts and your real feelings. Obsessive views and rigid ideas refuse to be checked against actual experiences, paralyzing your mental and emotional faculties. Like a thorn in the side, they are a source of constant pain and irritation. Give love a chance, including a love of truth and honesty. Shed light on your memories and expectations. Do not be afraid of painful truths. All wounds will heal if you tend to them. Practical advice: do not give up. Risk being more honest and authentic. Let go of your prejudice, pretense, and reserve. Feel the great relief that will be yours when your heart is set free again. Okay, so this card, I love this card in this particular deck. In a lot of decks, there's sort of like the kind of message from this card is like, oh, betrayal in love. Somebody's cheating on somebody else, and it's usually fairly dark. This card, even here on this image, it's red, it's dark, it's kind of violent, but this avoids a sort of stereotypical portrayal, which is really the fact that, as with most things, the choice is yours and things can go either way. You have power for something to be an uncomfortable situation, or you have power to take it in a different direction. So what this card is really talking about is the heart and the mind, and how so often we separate them and we elevate one over the other, or we malign one of them. And this is really saying that there's so much power that can happen when you bring them together in unity. So yes, it looks kind of violent, but what we're actually having is a scene of rescue. We're having this sword, this lance, but this sword that's come to slay the dragons and rescue love in this whole image. So there's danger, yes, but there's this idea of liberation, that there's great emotion, and it's part of this is liberating. It's not just that the mind can free you, but it's like, you could take it that the mind can free you from your emotional distress, but really it's like the mind can allow us to unlock our emotions in order to let them flow and be felt truly, instead of feeling like one wins over the other. They can both be in service to each other. Strong emotions point us to the things that matter, and then we can bring our mind towards that which matters. And also, having our mental capacity in order to examine our emotions and to make sense of them is a great way to not be trapped by them. So there's this way in which, if we can unite the power of the swords and the heart, that we can have this unity, instead of having this distraction where so many times we pick one or we disconnect them. So it's like this, it's this idea of, in a way, like he's, this big warrior, he's got this big lance. It's kind of like lancing a boil. Like it hurts, it's all festering under the surface, but what it really needs is just a little bit of controlled violence, a little bit of like like specific lancing, and then you have this, well, at first is usually an eruption of like icky stuff, like hard emotions, sadness, anger. It all comes up, and in fact it can look much worse than it did when it was kind of contained, because you don't know how deep it is. But once you've released those strong emotions, then you can have all of the pleasant experiences, emotional experience as well. And that's not to say that, using your mind and saying, oh, look how nasty that is. Like, oh, feelings are just so yicky. Don't we wish we could stay in our mind? No, it's using the power of one to liberate, to access the power of the other. So that's what this card's really kind of getting at, is that, yeah, that you can unify them both, and then when that happens, you are set free and you have the capacity to finally heal. So this season right now, Virgo season, Virgo is all about healing. Virgo is all about healthcare and yet healing of the body and the heart and soul. So this is really inviting us to tap into this season of health by focusing on how can we get our mental and emotional health together and have them help each other. Where does healing still need to happen? Where has maybe things just been festering and not healing, or where has it just seemed like it's a little bit too much work to heal? This card also has this sort of surgical feeling, like the sword as a scalpel, where yes, it cuts and bleeds, but it does so in service to a greater health that then allows you to heal in a way that would be impossible if you weren't okay to shed a little bit of blood. So there's also this sort of feeling of healing is messy, and you can't just go straight to like, a little bit of bloodshed is kind of normal in healing. You can't just wish your way into harmony right away if something's gone wrong. So, and even that, so if Virgo is this season of health, after equinox, where we're all about balance. So again, equinox is we're trying to bring light and dark into balance, and in this case, we're trying to bring the heart and mind into balance. Once we're working on that balance, Libra season is all about balance and harmony. So Libra season, it's kind of like, if we can do the work in Virgo season, because Virgo is about healing, but it's also about work, that it's not just wave your magic wand. Like, it takes work, it takes repetition and diligence in order to get that healing. But then in Libra, we kind of get to celebrate a little bit. Libra is also a sign of like, kind of like partying a little, or like enjoying fine things, enjoying fine music, having friends around, and having beautiful things kind of surrounded by that. So it's kind of like, what's the reward that can be yours if you are okay to go through this sort of epically difficult scene of healing to then get to the harmony and the joy that can be yours afterwards. So and not just harmony and joy, but union. Libra is about union. It's about partnership. So it doesn't have to just be romantic partnership. It's a union of equals kind of coming together. It can be business, can be all kinds of things. But in this case, it can be the union of heart and mind as well. The partnership that happens when you get your thoughts and your emotions and your desires and your mind together, and then they can have a healthy union of equals where then they can have that harmony together as well. So it's both this healing and then the harmony and joy that you can experience with healing, but that healing comes from this balance and marrying of these two kind of forces within us that often get kind of pitted against each other. So that's what's coming up for you this month. So Gemini, this on the one hand, Virgo season is often feels quite comfortable for you because Gemini and Virgo are both ruled by Mercury. So, and Mercury is this kind of, planet of thought and wit as well. So Virgo season has this element of critical thinking as well that will probably fit pretty well for you with your kind of natural affinity for thought and kind of mercurial things. But there may also be a tendency to shy away from like the work and like the kind of perceived heaviness and discomfort of this. It can be really easy for Gemini to just kind of like, I just kind of want to stay with the good times. Like, I just want to kind of be light. And if it gets really rough, I just kind of want to move to something else. So really do try to have that staying power to know that that Libra harmony and joy that comes after the work, you can't just jump to it. You do have to go through. So try to have that that staying power to know that like ultimately this work will give you greater freedom because you're not, well, she's tied up right now. She's not having a good time. Your desire for freedom and movement is best served by taking this time of work and healing so that you have that light kind of capacity later. So that's what I've got for you this month. Lots of, ooh, this is really super potent card, especially in this season of healing anyway. So I'm super pumped for you, even if it feels a little bit rough and dark sometimes. If you would like a little extra support, my Virgo season workshop, it's Pay What You Can workshop, is up on my YouTube channel. So it's going to give you it's going to give you a whole other tarot reading, but it's also going to have all of the planetary or the major planetary transits happening in September. There's a lot of retrogrades, including a Mercury retrograde. So that will probably have an impact on you, and it'd be great for you to check that out so you're not blindsided by anything. So check that out on my channel, and then we'll also have another workshop up when equinox comes around and we're back in Libra season. So there'll be plenty of things for you to work with. And yeah, best of luck, Gemini. Have fun.